Welcome to Scrub In, a podcast where purpose meets care. We are more than just a podcast. We are real stories of hope, expert health advice, and inspiring conversations with the people behind the scrubs.
This podcast will leave you informed, inspired, and reminded of the purpose that connects us all. It's the voice of humanity in healthcare, uplifting, honest, and full of heart.
Featuring hosts Dr. Kendall Barton, Keisha Morris, and Alice Roush. You can listen and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, and YouTube. Or visit bayhealth.org/scrubin to learn more. Now, let's scrub in. Here's our next episode.
Hello, thanks for joining us for this episode of Scrub In. I'm Alice Roush, joined by Keisha Morris. We want to welcome our new listeners as well as those who are returning to listen to us again. Thanks for being here today.
Absolutely. And as we do with every podcast, we start with a quote. So here's today's quote. Innovation is seeing what everybody has seen and thinking what nobody has taught. And that's by Dr. Albert Szent-Györgyi.
That's a great quote and so relevant to the work that we do every day in healthcare.
Absolutely.
We're going to give everybody a little bit of a behind the scenes look on things that happen here at Bayhealth. We don't always talk about on our podcast, but there's so much innovation going on behind the scenes.
A lot.
In your department, in our department, in the nursing department.
All the time.
Mm-hmm.
So today we have a wonderful opportunity to talk to two of our team members from our nursing department to talk just about that. So let me take a moment and introduce them. So we're excited to welcome today James Flores and Rosi Worcester. Are you guys excited about being here?
Very excited.
Totally.
Yeah.
Very good. Well, we cannot wait to talk to you today about all the innovation and all the innovative things that you are doing in the nursing department. But before we jump into that, would you mind telling us a little bit about yourself? James, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I'm James Flores. I'm the clinical coordinator for dialysis. I've been with Bayhealth for 20 years. I started in environmental services. I was an accounting major, got a firsthand look at nursing and decided to change careers, and here we are.
Wow, that's a great story.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Rosi?
Hi, everybody. I'm so glad to be back on Scrub In. Thanks for having us and highlighting some of our great work. Rosi Worcester, I'm the Chief Nurse Executive here for Bayhealth, and I have been here for 3.5 years. And very excited to be here and talking about one of my favorite topics of innovation. And just a quick shout out, James, I love your story. It really speaks to a lot of the important things at Bayhealth, which is sort of cultivating a love for taking care of people. And your career just exemplifies that. So I'm really happy to share with you too.
That's so cool. Very cool. It sort of leads us into our next question, which we always start our podcast with, is tell us your why behind getting into healthcare.
Like I said, I started off in environmental services. I always wanted a career in medicine. Shied away from that in college and then took the job at Bayhealth. Got a firsthand look at someone expressing their gratitude towards a nurse and decided maybe I should do that. My dad's also a nurse here at Bayhealth as well, so decided to follow in his footsteps.
Family legacy.
Yeah.
Go wrong with that.
Yeah,
I love that. Rosi, how about you? Why did you choose healthcare?
Well, for me, I chose nursing specifically because it's this really unique and great intersection of science and people, and I really love both. So when I was thinking about, what did I want to do and what are the things that I love, both of those really won the race for me, and nursing just exemplifies all of that. And having been a nurse for 28 years, can't believe that, 28 years, I really found a love in leadership. And you'll see as we get into our discussion, I love it because it really allows me to exemplify the great work that nurses do.
Love that. So we always like to dig a little bit deeper into who you are as individuals. So would you mind telling us a little bit about your hobbies and some of the interests that you're involved in outside of work? And James, we're going to start with you again. So.
On my off days, I like to partake in CrossFit, spend time with my family. I have 3 kids, Lincoln, Mason, and Molly. They're 10, 8, and 4. So spending time with them is usually what I'm doing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's always great to give the kids a shout out on.
So
Yeah.
How about you? How about you, Rosi?
Well, the things I like to do in my downtime, I love to read. I'm a voracious reader, like a couple of books a week, maybe.
Impressive.
Yeah, mostly, fiction, but occasionally I have good self-help in there. And I love to dig in the dirt. I love to be outside. I have older kids. My kids are just about to be 20 and 17. I can't believe it. So we do some things together when they're home and not busy, certainly with people more important than mom and dad, but those are the things that I like to do.
Very cool. All right, we're going to get a little bit more into the topic today, which is innovation. And innovative idea to begin with is the scrub tank. This idea that we launched at Bayhealth to provide nurses an opportunity to weigh in and bring some bright ideas to the table. Because when you're on the front lines, you see things that some people just don't see. So let's start out by just talking about what is scrub tank.
So Scrub Tank is an immersion session to specifically set time aside to develop and launch innovative ideas for nurses. And the coming together here was really to say exactly what you said, Alice. It was nurses have this really unique view of people and of healthcare. And Scrub Tank is designed to bring those ideas forward and then give them flight and understand what would it take to really make this happen.
So typically, how many teams did you have on with ScrubTank this year?
I think there were about 6 teams.
16?
Yeah.
And you had one team as well, correct?
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about your team. How'd you guys come together? How'd you decide on the ideas? Give me all the juice.
So all 3 of us work in dialysis. My team members were Jessica Hunsaker and Michelle Connor. Um, we working firsthand with dialysis, we've noticed there was an issue with the dialysis catheters. They tend to kink where we aspirate blood from them. So my idea was basically stemming from that. How could we fix this issue? How could we save patients the trouble of having to come in and get that exchanged? So my idea was based off a piece of hardware that can go around the line to prevent it from kinking, and then hopefully saving patients the trouble of having it exchanged or anything like that.
So not only did you come up with a fantastic idea, and I'm curious about how you even kind of built the mechanism to be able to do that, but you've also really saved our patients kind of the inconvenience of having to come in or maybe even suffering some type of medical, emergency because of it. How does that make you feel?
It makes me feel proud because, as Rosie can attest, we were here for the patients. We were always looking out for them, their best interests. So, if anything, we want to save them the trouble of the hassle of having anything exchanged or anything detrimental to their life.
Awesome. Rosie, could you talk a little bit about what the process was like in the scrub tech situation to bring out that type of an innovative idea?
Sure. Really a great moment as a leader, frankly, because there's so much steam coming from the room. The idea of Scrub Tank came from an organization called the Society of Nurse Scientists, Innovators, and Entrepreneurs. They have what's called like a think tank model for how do you get nurses in a room to really innovate. So some key team members, Ludi Santiago Rochford, she's one of our CNSs. Will Harvey, who's a nurse who works in IT, Gifty Boateng, who's in our surgical services area at Kent, came together and said, hey, let's do this here at Bayhealth. So we did. And what happened in the room, first of all, there was a call for ideas really across the organization. If you have a great idea, you want to give it some flight, come to this. There were applications, and then we got to the day. We had 6 teams, as James said, and we were sort of timed sessions on put together your idea. What's your pitch? What is the benefit? Who is the recipient? And then each team had 3 or 4 minutes to present their ideas. And then the hardest part was a small group of nurses to vote on which was best. Let me tell you, it was tough. We actually went over by like 20 minutes because we were just like, oh my gosh, we don't know what to do here. They're all such great ideas. So then there's a voting, and then there's sort of a crowned winner. And that was where the dialysis team won.
Awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
So James, you touched on this a little bit earlier, but can you give us a little bit more insight into how your idea will help improve patient care?
So as I said with the kinks in the catheter, sometimes patients it's a lot of trouble to get that replaced, whether it's scheduling a far out appointment or having to go through the ER. And with the buildup of toxins because they're in renal failure, um, they can become fluid overloaded, uremic. Um, so in order to prevent that, because sometimes patients can become non-compliant, well, like why bother if there's trouble with their catheter? So that's where that idea came from. It can help prevent them from being non-compliant, give them kind of like a quick fix to prevent any unnecessary admissions, mm, anything like that. Yeah.
Some great improvements there.
Yeah.
Were you how long between getting the scrub tank victory and then implementing that change? Have you been able to look at some of the results yet, or is it still too new?
Yeah, it's in the works. I believe they just came up with the first prototype and it's promising. I think they're trying to basically test other materials out because the catheter is very fragile, so we don't want to do anything to put harm on the patient. But yeah, it's looking promising.
Who's they?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's I believe his name is Francis, and he works in the sim lab. He has a 3D printer, and he's the one who's developing this prototype.
Do you have a chance to be involved in that at all? Or
Yes, we met with him. He brought in models of what the material would look like, and we just received an email the other day that he had developed the first prototype. So
very cool.
yeah.
Very cool.
That's innovation on top of innovation. Rosie, do you want to talk a little bit about Bayhealth having a sim lab and the innovation that happens there?
Absolutely. So Bayhealth is positioned really well. We have a great disposition around innovation. We welcome it, and we have been doing that for some time. So the Sim Lab is a great example of that, Alice. It's just the prime spot to say, okay, we want to try something, or innovation tends to come from having a problem to solve. And when you sort of pull apart the problem, look for solutions, the Sim Lab and the way Bay Health looks at innovation is a great approach to that problem solving. We can test things. We can say, hey, maybe we should try to do ABC, give it a try, say, not sure that worked. Maybe we should do something different, and then give that a try. And it really allows us to boil down to the right solution. And the great thing about this is, the way the Sim Lab connects to creating innovation, trying it out, and then making it better for a patient, or making it better for a family to have their experience here with us. Yeah.
It's awesome. The SimLab's a great resource that we have. That really, really is a great opportunity. So, what's next for this idea?
So as they develop the prototype, hopefully when we finally obtain a final product, we can test it out in the field and see how it responds.
That's fantastic.
That's so cool. So, can we talk a little bit about the other people? Maybe they weren't the winners, but they also had great ideas. What do you do with those ideas?
Yes, because it was just a brain-filled day. So 6 teams, as we mentioned. Each of them pitches their idea, and sometimes the idea is what I call just do it. So we had an idea in there to create a portable cart for patients with a particular type of illness, and that's something where we can take it back and say, "Hey, you know what? Let's just build the cart. Let's just do it. Let's just make it available." So we have sometimes that kind of innovation, and maybe it's just something we haven't thought of before, all the way through to other ideas that were really technology based, where the human mind is just one step ahead of technology. It's and it says, hey, can we build this? And maybe we need to think it through a little bit further or something like that. What we do though is we encourage everyone to continue to develop their ideas, connect with people who can be resources. How do we, hone it down a little bit further? Maybe bring it back to another one, or develop it into pieces so that maybe pieces of it can be implemented. One of the parts of our event that was really wonderful was when all the teams were sitting there together, remember, and we everyone was pitching their ideas.
Yeah.
There's so much engagement. Everybody's watching. And then I do have to say, when we announced James's team as the winner, I mean, everybody just erupted with, of course, yes, this is awesome. And it really generated a lot of energy that I think will carry us through even further innovation.
That's awesome. So I know innovation is a big, passionate topic for you, Rosie. If a nurse wants to innovate, what things should they do? How should they really approach that?
Yeah. Um, One of the most important roles that I have within my job as the chief nurse is to seek nursing innovation. And sometimes that happens by way of rounding. Sometimes I'll get an email. Sometimes I often, round through dialysis, for example, and we're like, hey guys, what's going on? Tell me things. And what I want to encourage people to do is speak up. Speak up, share the idea. It can be totally crazy. Who would have thought that this device, it's about an inch and a
Yeah.
half or so,
Colin.
printed on a 3D printer, that it's going to make a difference for patients. But we would not have known unless James had not, if he hadn't brought that idea up.
Yeah.
So my advice is tell someone, tell me, tell a leader, tell a colleague, um, because you never know. I mean, I could tell you something, Keisha, and you could be like, "Oh, hey, that's a great idea. What do you think about, should we add a this? Maybe it's a this." And that's where it really springs forth. So I think that's the biggest piece is make your idea known. And I'm open to that. And again, I'm committed, the nursing leadership, we are committed to giving flight to those ideas. Sometimes it's just talking it through. Sometimes it's securing resources such as this. But that's what we're here to do because at the end of the day, what the biggest benefit is in the patients and communities that trust us to care for them. So why not?
Why not? Why
Why
not?
not?
I love giving them the time to have that
Mhm.
creativity too, because we spend so much time being busy and running from things to things. So just blocking that time as a leader and getting, coverage for the time that you maybe had to be at work is a huge part of being able to come up with those ideas.
Yeah, absolutely. And I also believe seeing your prototype or your team's prototype really come to life will just energize the other nurses so much more to be able to do that. So I can't wait to see that happen.
Yeah, it's
A
well
little
said.
competition.
100%.
Well, and shout out really to that process I just described happened for ScrubTank because Ludi, Will, Gifty, some others, they said, hey, Rosie, can we do this? It's going to take some resources. We need space to do it. And that by itself is the cycle of how innovation can happen here.
Absolutely. How did your team respond? What was it? Everyone was screaming. Rosie talks about that, but what was it like for you?
I mean, we were immediately shocked because, as Rosie said, everybody had a great idea. Um, I mean, so much so that I didn't think that we would win, but I was so excited that we won, and I'm excited to see what this product brings and how many lives it can save.
Yeah. And I imagine your dad, you said being a nurse as well, was proud to hear that.
You're right, he's very proud.
So awesome.
Well, we've had a great conversation today, and we've learned a lot about the two of you as well as the great innovative work that you're doing within the nursing department. So I'm just curious, if you had one thing to leave our listeners with today, what would it be? We'll start with you, James.
Never to shy away from any ideas they may have. Speak up, as Rosie said. No idea is a dumb idea. And yeah.
Awesome. Great pieces of advice. How about you, Rosie?
I don't know if I can top that really. It's sharing what your thoughts are. Um, we have a great health system where we can do that and really be heard, sort of have that voice carry through. So don't be quiet.
I love that. Don't be quiet.
Great advice.
Great advice.
Thanks so much for joining us. Thank you for being here, listening to Scrub In. We talked about the ScrubTank. Have a great day.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Scrub In, where we bring purpose and care to every conversation.
If you enjoyed today's podcast, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever you listen.
Stay connected, stay informed, and stay inspired right here with Scrub In.